Scott Yager here at Comic-Con with the one and only Hurricane Shane Helms. Shane, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. I go back to the 3-count days. I remember, didn't watch it because I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut, but I remember hearing about you guys doing some Omega stuff down in North Carolina. You and the Hardys were good friends and everything like that. And then, of course, your magical run in the WWE, which, correct me if I'm wrong, involved you actually pinning The Rock once, right?
Yeah, I think I'm still the last guy to beat him on TV as it goes. So.
It's unbelievable. That is actually a true story. Sugar Shane Helms, Hurricane Shane Helms. Now, you do the Comic-Con stuff. I remember you were a huge Comic-Con comic fan going into when you got to do the Hurricane gimmick. Was it your idea? How did that come about? Because it became one of the most popular characters on TV, one of the most marketable characters on TV, and that had to come from your inner love for comics, right?
Yeah, I think I inspired the idea because I had the tattoo, and I would always wear like comic book, like related T-shirts, the TV or whatever. And so they figured out pretty easily that I like comic books. And I know it's cool to be a comic fan now, but at that time, none of the big movies were out. So, they came and asked me, like, would I be a superhero? At the time, a lot of guys from WCW came in and everybody's fighting for TV time. And they're trying different things with different guys. Most of them aren't working. And they asked me, would I be a superhero? And I said, sure. And but it was me that made everything, the costume, the mask, the designs and the sayings and all the crazy shit I did. You can bleep that out if you want.
No, we don't have to bleep it.
That was all me, just taking this opportunity and making the most out of it.
Now, I follow you on Twitter. I love following guys like yourself or anyone from the business I grew up watching and hearing their thoughts on TV today. I love it. It's like we live in this new world now where social media isn't something anyone could have even dreamt of in, say, the late, 90s or anything like that. But not only that, you couldn't have dreamt of all the companies being so cool with the lack of kayfabe, to use an insider term, right? Yeah. Isn't it really cool that now literally Stone Cold Steve Austin is a podcast host. It's unbelievable. I remember when it used to be, you did a shoot video, you're fired. Right. And now it's just part of the game. Isn't that awesome for a guy like you, who I know is just a fan at heart as well?
I imagine it's a lot more cooler for the fans, to get something like that.
But to be able to connect with us, we love it,
Yeah. To a degree. There's some people I've connected with that I wish I hadn't. The beauty of social media is it gives everybody a voice. The bad thing about social media is it gives everybody a voice. So there's some good and bad with it, but I really concentrate on the positive. I think I've made contact with a lot of people that I became friends with that without social media, that relationship might not have never existed. So I think you can have fun. You just got to really ignore the negative people that are out there. And as long as you do that, it can be a lot of fun. And like you said about the podcast, I had one of my own for a while. And Steve actually called me for advice on how to do his. And that's one of the reasons I stopped doing mine. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to compete with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the podcast world. And actually, I love listening to his stuff anyway. The one he did where he had the match with The Fly might be my favorite podcast of all time, just because of how absurd it was and how entertaining he made it. So all the kayfabe stuff is cool, but I kind of know all that. Him having a match with that Fly was entertaining as hell to me.
It's crazy how quickly he picked that up. To me, he's one of my favorite interviewers. Not even the fact, obviously I grew up loving watching him and he's a character, but one of my favorite interviewers. He has such great questions. Yeah. I hope I'm doing him justice interviewing you right now. I'll get you out of here on this. Not at all. Not even at all. Now, we've seen, recently, the Dudleys, who are from your era, coming back to the fold. Sting, who, it sucks he got injured, but he's been doing stuff. And you're such a popular guy, and like I said, continue to maintain relationships with so many of your fans. I know you're doing the indie circuit nonstop. You're out there, you're live tweeting Raw and stuff like that. Is getting back out there for another run, is that something you want to do?
Well, I just appeared on pay-per-view for TNA this past Sunday. Somebody's not doing their homework, but
What'd you do?
Man, you're going to have to go watch that shit, man. You got to buy it. It's a little bit more than $9.99 too, I think. But I injured my ACL. I had to have ACL surgery at the beginning of the year. So 2015's kind of been a little down, not down like I'm sad about it. I just been doing more signings and stuff like that as opposed to actual in-ring action. I got hired by TNA about 6 months ago as an agent producer, and I kind of just been doing backstage stuff. And I'm really happy with that. I've enjoyed that way more than I thought I was going to. And I didn't have any really plans to do anything like on screen as far as in the ring with them because my contract was just the agent producer stuff. But we had this pay-per-view in North Carolina. They kind of wanted me to go on screen and do something. So I said, okay, let me just walk out. We'll see how the crowd reacts, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a feeling they would react well to me. It is my home state. It would be very disappointing if they didn't. But I went out there, great reaction. So we'll see what happens. That X Division belt is green. Green's my color, so we'll see.
Well, hopefully they don't. I love TNA. I love what they're doing down there. To be told, no one knows what's going to happen with the company, right? You can even speak to that, right? I mean, do we know what's happening? But end of the year, I think it's done with Destination America. That deal's done, right?
I don't know exactly. I kind of stick away from that. That's
please.
That's not my area.
I don't want to get you in any trouble.
You're not gonna get me in any trouble. I make a purpose to stay away from that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna do me any good to worry about that shit.
Right.
Same thing in the dying days of WCW. I was like, I can't worry about that.
Right.
I just got to go out there and do what Sugar Shane does.
Yeah.
And that helped me. I was one of the first guys WWE picked up.
I remember that.
So
yeah.
even TNA right now, and I can't worry about that. I just do my job. But there's a lot of internal confidence for something.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. The things that they're doing with me and the contract that they gave me, they wouldn't have done that unless there was some kind of confidence about something coming from somewhere. So the main thing right now that I love about TNA is I hate how predictable pro wrestling can be sometimes. There's no damn way you can say TNA is predictable right now. It is unpredictable. It's beautiful chaos, and that's what I love about that show right now.
Awesome. Well, as I said, I follow this guy on Twitter. I have for years. Where can people find you on Twitter?
At Shane Helms.com. All of my social media is the same. At Shane Helms.com. I try to make it easier for everybody.
You don't just talk about wrestling. If you watch something else, you talk about everything, pop culture, comics. You're the man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Dude, it's a pleasure to meet you, brother.
Here comes the story of the hurricane. The man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done.